What if the reason he comes back has nothing to do with love and everything to do with what your silence wakes up inside him? Think about that for a second. The same man who ignored your effort, took your kindness for granted and acted like your presence was normal, suddenly feels your value the moment you step back. Not when you explain, not when you cry, not when you prove how much you care, but when you stop. When you go quiet, when your energy is no longer easy to reach, that is when the shift begins. And no, it is not a game. It is not magic. It is not about pretending you do not care. It is about what happens when someone can no longer lean on your attention while giving you confusion in return. The silence hits differently. It creates questions. It creates distance. It creates the kind of space that forces truth to rise. So if you have ever sat there wondering why he left, why he returned, or why men often wake up only after they lose access, stay with me. Because this goes deeper than dating advice. This is about emotional patterns, human nature, and the moment a woman stops chasing and starts choosing herself. And once that happens, everything changes. Watch closely, because the part most people miss is the part that gives you your power back. The moment you decide on no contact, something serious starts moving. Not just in him, but in you. Most people think no contact is only about ignoring messages or staying silent long enough to get a reaction. But that is the shallow view. The deeper truth is that no contact breaks a pattern. It cuts off the emotional routine he got used to. You being there, you checking in, you making the effort, you keeping the energy alive. And then suddenly, none of that is there anymore. At first, he may not react much. He may even feel relief. He may think he escaped pressure, escaped emotions, escaped responsibility. But time changes the feeling. Silence grows louder with time. It starts soft, then it echoes. He begins to notice the space you used to fill. He starts to feel the missing part, not all at once, but little by little. And that is what makes it powerful. You are no longer predictable. He cannot read your mood. He cannot assume your loyalty is waiting for him on standby. He cannot reach for your energy whenever he feels low. That shift matters. It forces him to sit with the choices he made. And while he's sitting in that space, you are changing too. You are no longer living in constant reaction. You begin to breathe again. You begin to think clearly. You begin to remember that your value does not come from being chosen by someone who was unsure. It comes from choosing yourself fully. And trust me, that energy travels even in silence. One reason men return after no contact is because many of them do not process emotional loss right away. This is something people misunderstand all the time. While you may feel everything in the beginning, the sadness, the confusion, the questions, he may go the other way. He distracts, he keeps busy, he goes out, he talks to people. He fills the space with noise, so he does not have to face what happened. But emotions delayed are not emotions erased. They wait. And when life slows down, when the distractions stop working, when the night gets too quiet, that is when the truth starts coming in. Suddenly, he is not just remembering your face. He is remembering your energy. The way you made things softer, the way you understood him, the way your presence gave a strange kind of comfort he never properly named when he had it. That is why it can feel like he comes back out of nowhere. To you it seems random. To him it feels like a wave he can no longer avoid. He is finally feeling what he pushed down before. And by the time he starts processing it, you may already be healing, growing, and stepping into a version of yourself that no longer needs the same answers. That is where the power flips, because now he is reaching from lack and you are standing in clarity. Keep listening, because this is exactly where many women lose their advantage by confusing his return with his transformation. Those are not always the same thing. What makes him miss you is usually not the obvious thing. It is rarely just your looks, your photos, or some jealous reaction he suddenly has. Real missing comes from emotional memory. It comes from the way he felt when he was with you, If he felt peace around you, that stays with him. If he felt seen without being judged, that stays with him. If you understood his moods without making everything harder, that stays with him. A man may not always say these things out loud, but he remembers emotional safety more than he admits. He remembers who made life feel lighter. He remembers who believed in him before he fully believed in himself. He remembers who brought warmth into his cold moments. And when that is gone, normal life starts to feel flat. The world gets noisy. People feel random. Conversations feel empty. He may try to move on fast. He may talk to someone new. He may try to convince himself that replacing you will be easy. But emotional chemistry is not copy and paste. The feeling you gave him is not always easy to recreate. That is why your absence can become so loud in his mind. He starts comparing without trying to. He starts noticing what is missing in other connections. He starts feeling the difference between attention and real connection. And here is the part that matters. You do not need to advertise your worth for this to happen. You do not need to post for revenge. You do not need to perform healing. What lingers is not the show. It is the emotional imprint you left behind. Another thing that pulls him back is mystery. This one is bigger than most people realize. When you stop over-explaining, stop defending, stop reaching, and stop trying to force understanding, you create space. And space is powerful. Space makes people think. Space makes people wonder. Space makes someone confront the fact that they no longer have direct access to your mind, your heart, or your energy. If he was used to you reacting every time, your silence unsettles him. If he was used to you chasing clarity, your calm changes the whole dynamic. Now he has to deal with unanswered questions. Did you move on? Did you finally see through him? Are you happier now? Do you even care anymore? Those questions can hit the ego hard, but they do more than bruise pride. They wake up curiosity. And curiosity is one of the strongest emotional hooks there is. People chase what they cannot fully read. They think about what they no longer understand. They replay what they once took for granted. This is why walking away with grace can be more powerful than any final speech. You leave room for his own mind to do the work. And the mind can be relentless when it loses something it assumed would always be there. That is why your silence is not empty. It is loaded. It says you are no longer available for the same cycle. It says your life is moving. It says your energy has standards now. And when that truth lands, it can shake him more than any emotional message ever could. This next part is important because not every return means the same thing. When he reaches out again, it almost never feels random, even if the message looks casual. A simple hey, a like on your story, a random check-in, a late night text that seems small on the surface. But behind that small action, something usually triggered him. Maybe it was a place you both went to. Maybe it was a song. Maybe it was an empty night that felt heavier than usual. Maybe he saw someone who reminded him of you for 1 second too long. Sometimes it is memory. Sometimes it is disappointment in someone new. Sometimes it is regret finally catching up. Sometimes it is just the shock of realizing you are not circling around him anymore. And yes, sometimes it is ego. Let's be honest about that. Some men do not come back because they are ready. They come back because your absence made them uncomfortable. They want to know if the door is still open. They want to know if they still matter to you. They want proof that they can still get your attention if they decide to reach. That is why you cannot treat every message like a love story returning to life. A text is not commitment. A memory is not growth. Missing you is not the same as being ready for you. This is where emotional discipline matters. Before you respond, stop and ask yourself what exactly is happening here. Is he showing real intention Or is he simply reaching for familiarity because it feels safe? That answer changes everything. Stay with this, because the next mistake is the one that pulls so many women back into the same pain wearing a different outfit. You have to learn the difference between loneliness and real intention. Because loneliness can sound beautiful. It can dress itself in sweet words, in soft apologies, in late night honesty, in the kind of message that hits the part of your heart that still remembers the good moments. He may say he misses you. He may say he has been thinking about you. He may say no one feels like you. Maybe he means it in that moment. But the real question is not whether he feels something. The real question is what he is prepared to do about what he feels. Loneliness looks for comfort. Intention builds consistency. Loneliness reaches out when life is quiet. Intention shows up when life is busy too. Loneliness wants access. Intention accepts responsibility. Watch the pattern. Does he only appear when he is bored, emotional, or alone? Does he avoid the hard conversations? Does he want your warmth without facing what broke the connection in the first place? That is not growth. That is emotional hunger. And hunger is not the same as love. A serious man may not be perfect, but he will be clearer. He will ask real questions. He will make real time. He will not just chase the feeling of you. He will respect the reality of what it takes to be with you now. That is the standard. And if he cannot meet it, do not let your old hope lower your new boundaries. Because just because someone misses you does not mean they are ready to hold you the right way. Missing is easy. Showing up well is rare. If he comes back, the strongest thing you can do is slow the moment down. Do not let your heart sprint ahead of the facts. Do not rush to answer just because part of you has been waiting for this. Pause. Breathe. Let the message sit for a while. Not as a game, but as self-control. You are no longer the version of you that jumps the second he gives attention. You are the version that protects peace first. A fast reply can send the message that you were emotionally parked in the same spot, waiting for him to return. And that is not the energy you want to lead with. You also do not want to fall straight into nostalgia. That is another trap. The inside jokes, the old memories, the sweet little moments, all of that can feel warm fast. But warmth is not repair. Familiarity is not progress. Do not let one soft conversation erase the reason the distance happened. Keep your energy steady. Keep your questions real. Let him reveal where he stands over time. And do not use this moment to chase closure either. If he did not give clarity when it mattered most, do not expect one random return to suddenly unlock every truth you wanted before. Sometimes the closure was the silence. Sometimes the answer was the pattern. You do not need a perfect explanation to move forward with power. What you need is self-respect. And that means not handing emotional access back to someone who has not yet shown emotional responsibility. This is where high-value energy begins to speak, without needing to raise its voice. A woman in her power does not panic when he returns. She does not melt. She does not attack. She does not beg for proof or rush to punish. She watches. She listens. She stays centered. Because she knows that words are easy when someone feels lonely, guilty, or curious. What matters is behavior over time. A strong woman does not feel the need to prove how much she was hurt just to make him understand her worth. She already knows her worth. And because she knows it, she no longer offers easy access to her energy. She asks herself better questions now. Has he truly changed? Or is he just uncomfortable without the attention he once had? Is he here to give? Or is he here to take comfort from the same heart he confused before? She does not confuse being wanted with being valued. And that difference saves her. She can be kind without being available. She can be open without being naive. She can forgive without forgetting what the pattern taught her. That is real strength. It is calm. It is clear. It does not need drama to make a point. And the more grounded she is, the more obvious his intentions become. Because men reveal themselves quickly when they realize they can no longer rely on old versions of you. If he wants access now, he has to meet the woman you became, not the woman he left behind. And if he cannot rise to that level, then the answer is already there. Even if he never says it out loud, there are a few things you should never do when he contacts you again, especially if you fought hard to heal. First, do not answer from pure emotion. Excitement can be just as dangerous as sadness when it takes over your choices. Second, do not act like nothing happened. Silence has history. Distance has meaning. If you ignore that just because he showed up again, you erase your own growth. You do not need to be harsh, but you do need to be honest with yourself about what this connection has been. Third, do not hand him deep emotional intimacy too fast. He does not get the newest version of you just because he knocked on the door again. That access is earned. Let him work for closeness. Let him show consistency before he gets comfort. And fourth, do not assume his return means he wants to rebuild something real. Sometimes a message is just a message. Sometimes it is boredom, weakness, ego, or a lonely moment passing through his hands at midnight. Do not write a future in your head based on a few words on a screen. Let time test his intention. Let actions speak louder than the spark of reconnecting. If he is serious, consistency will prove it. If he is not, the truth will show itself without you having to chase it. And remember this line, because it matters. Not every return is a blessing. Some returns are tests. Tests of your healing. Tests of your standards. Tests of whether you still confuse attention with love. Pass the test. Do not repeat the lesson. Before you even think about taking him back, ask yourself one question that cuts through all the noise. If I met him exactly as he is today, with no history, no memories, no emotional attachment, would I still choose him? Sit with that. Because history can be a dangerous filter. It can make potential look like progress. It can make memory feel like evidence. It can make you want the old dream more than the current reality. But the woman you are now has to look at the man in front of her now, not the version you hoped he would become, not the version you loved at his best moments, not the version that only exists in your imagination at 2 a.m., the real one. Is he clear? Is he consistent? Is he accountable? Does he know how to stay? Does he know how to repair? Does being around him bring you peace, or does it bring you pressure? Your body often tells the truth before your mind catches up. If your nervous system feels heavy, confused, watchful, or unsafe, pay attention. Love should not feel like decoding a puzzle every day. And another thing, do not mistake relief for love. Relief that he came back, relief that you were not forgotten, relief that the silence ended. Relief can feel intense, but it does not last. What lasts is respect. What lasts is trust. What lasts is effort repeated over time. So ask yourself honestly, does this feel like a healthy new chapter or just an old wound asking for familiar attention? The answer matters more than his apology ever will. If he is serious, you will not have to twist yourself into confusion trying to figure it out. Serious energy moves differently. It does not just speak in emotional bursts. It shows up in stable ways. He makes room for real conversations. He addresses what happened instead of floating over it. He does not become defensive every time discomfort appears. He does not ask you to ignore your standards so things can feel easy for him again. He accepts that rebuilding trust takes time. He respects your pace. He shows that he understands the cost of his past actions. And most importantly, his behavior keeps matching his words after the emotional heat fades. That is the part many people skip. Anyone can sound sincere in the first few days. Anyone can feel intense after losing access. But can he remain steady when things are no longer dramatic? Can he be intentional when it is not convenient? Can he choose maturity over ego? Can he hold space for your boundaries without making you feel guilty for having them? That is the real test. And if he cannot do that, then his return may only be another chapter of the same story. Do not let chemistry blind you to character. Do not let history talk you into something your healed self would never accept. You are not being difficult for wanting clarity. You are not being cold for asking for consistency. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what love should have looked like in the first place. And if he cannot rise to meet that, let him miss what he lost without giving him another chance to mishandle it. There is also something powerful you need to remember about your own transformation. No contact is not only about whether he comes back. In many ways, that is the smallest part of the whole process. The biggest part is who you become while the silence is doing its work. You start out missing him, replaying things, wondering what changed, hoping for signs. But as the days go on, something deeper starts happening. Your emotional vision clears. You stop reaching for scraps. You stop tying your worth to his attention. You stop calling confusion chemistry. You start seeing where you abandon yourself trying to keep someone else comfortable. And that awareness changes you. It makes you stronger, yes, but also wiser, softer in the right places, firmer in the necessary ones. You begin to understand that your love was never weak. It was simply placed in the wrong hands for too long. That is an important difference. So if he comes back now, he is not meeting the same woman. He is meeting someone who has gone through fire and learned not to mistake longing for alignment. He is meeting someone who knows that peace is not boring, that consistency is attractive, that mixed signals are not deep, and that being chosen by the wrong person is not a win. That is the glow up that matters most. Not just looking better, thinking better, feeling better, choosing better. And when you carry that kind of growth, even your silence has standards. Even your softness has structure. Even your love has wisdom behind it. So if he reaches out, let your next move come from the woman you are now, not the woman who once waited for him to figure it out. Move slow, stay clear, keep your center. Let him show you who he is without rushing to fill in the blanks with old hope. If he has truly changed, time will reveal it. If he has not, time will reveal that too. Either way, you win when you stay rooted in self-respect. Because this was never only about getting him back. It was about getting yourself back. Your peace, your standards, your voice, your ability to walk away from what feels half-hearted, even if your heart still remembers the sweet parts. That is power, real power. And maybe that is the twist in all of this. Maybe the reason he comes back is not just because he misses you. Maybe he comes back because for the first time he feels what life is like without access to a woman who loved deeply but finally loved herself more. And if he is ready now, he will rise. If he is not, keep walking. No bitterness, no drama, no regret, just clarity. Because your heart is not a waiting room. It is not a backup plan. It is not a place people visit when life gets lonely. It is a sacred space. And the right person will not just want entry. He will come with truth, effort, and the maturity to protect what he once failed to value. Until then, stay steady, stay wise, and never forget the moment you stopped chasing was the moment your real power began.